Recently, I made a video discussing the main reasons why I believe people are resorting to Microstrategy MSTR stock. You can go check it out. But in this video, I just want to discuss how Microstrategy through Bitcoin is changing finance and how it's mainly doing so through tapping into the $150 trillion bonds market. So we're going to talk about 5 things in this video: the Microstrategy play, 0% convertible notes, why they're at 0%, and how all this affects finance and the economy, and will other companies follow suit? So let's get into it. 1. The MicroStrategy play. What MicroStrategy has been doing for the most part is borrowing from the market and using that money to buy Bitcoin and add it to their balance sheet. MicroStrategy branded itself as the Bitcoin Treasury Company, or BTC. In doing so, they are effectively able to get unlimited cash and use that money to buy Bitcoin. The more the MSCR stock goes up, the more MicroStrategy is able to raise money and buy even more Bitcoin through the issuance of debt. How does that actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this play. 2. 0% convertible notes. One of the most commonly used instruments to achieve this play is issuing convertible notes at either very low interest rates historically, but recently even at 0% interest rate. Convertible notes are loans granted to MSTR, which allow the grantor to convert the bond into a share after a specific period of time, or after it reaches or it hits a specific strike price. So investors are giving MSTR very low or even 0% interest rate loans for a chance to own the stock after a specific time. But why do these loan providers agree to such terms? Like, why would they give MicroStrategy a 0% interest rate loan? Aren't they better off just loaning the money with a yield, or better yet, just buy the stock directly, or even more, just buy Bitcoin? The reason these bondholders are willing to give MicroStrategy a 0% loan specifically because they know the money will be used to buy Bitcoin. And as MicroStrategy beefs up its balance sheet with Bitcoin, the value of the company goes up, and it goes up even more when the Bitcoin price goes up. MSTR convertible note holders are betting on MSTR outperforming whatever yield the bond market provides to other bondholders. Now, if you ask me, just explain to me like I'm 5, like explain to me the whole play like I'm 5. Here's Daniel Ripple on Twitter explaining it the simplest way possible, and he says the following. So, he says, Saylor's convertible bond strategy explained to finance noobs in the simplest terms. Saylor, hey, lend me $100. Lender, okay, what's my interest? Sailor, I won't be paying you any interest. Lender, then, why should I lend you any money? Sailor, I'll pay you back even more than you'd earn with market interest rate. I'll pay you back in MSTR shares once they clear the strike price set in the convertible note. The shares are very likely to be much more than $100 in a few years. There are no guarantees, but odds are you'll make $200, $500, or even $1,000 on the original $100 loan. Where else can you get returns like that from the bonds? Lender, nowhere. Have you done this before? How has it worked? Sailor, yes, my converts have crushed all other bonds, stocks, and Bitcoin itself over the last 4 years. Lender, sign me up. So this is it in a nutshell. This is explained in the most simplest terms ever. But now we understand why bondholders wouldn't simply buy yield-generating bonds over MSTR convertible notes. However, the question remains, why would they buy directly MSTR stock or Bitcoin instead of waiting for their bonds to be converted to the stock, right? The answer is that some money in the market simply cannot be allocated directly into Bitcoin or securities. It can only be invested in bonds. This is due to tax hurdles or just regulations around Bitcoin. So even if you own bonds, you have the chance of your bond appreciating, before you even turn it into the MSTR shares. So this is why this type of investor class wouldn't directly own the security or own Bitcoin directly. And Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy is tapping into this type of investors and this market specifically. How is this play changing finance and potentially changing the structure of the economy as a whole? For long enough, Austrian economists such as Hans-Hermann Hoppe and Ludwig von Mises have been arguing for interest rate trending towards zero in the process of civilization. As society becomes more advanced and developed, the cost of money goes down, aka the interest rate goes down to eventually reach zero or near zero. One proven way to achieve an advanced civilization is through adopting free market principle, and most importantly and mainly through adopting hard money. During the gold standard of the 19th century, the interest rate was going down significantly like never before, and it reached its low of 3% by the end of it. The reason being that gold stores its value anyway, so you don't need to add a huge markup on it to ensure you will get back the value you lend it. The same is happening with Bitcoin and MSTR. It was even brought down to zero with the latest MSTR convertible note offering. Lenders are lending money to MicroStrategy at 0% because they know that they will get back this money with a premium in the form of MSTR shares, which are essentially a Bitcoin derivative. So they understand that they get MSTR share, and through the owning MSTR, they get access to Bitcoin, which is the hard money in question. So Bitcoin holds its value, and therefore you don't need to add premium on it in order to get back the value that you originally lended to buy the said Bitcoin. So this is how I believe this play that MicroStrategy is doing with leveraging Bitcoin is changing finance through and the economy by bringing interest rates to the lowest possible levels. And some people are even talking about negative interest rate convertible notes, but I'm not really sure about that. Finally, do I think other companies will follow suit on this play? So far, we have seen a few companies, publicly listed companies, do that, and they adopted Bitcoin on their balance sheet, such as Salmer Scientific or MetaPlanet, and obviously Bitcoin miners such as Marathon. I do believe that other companies will follow the strategy, but I don't think they can do it the same way MicroStrategy has done it, or not many companies will be able to do what MicroStrategy is doing. MSCR is originally a data software company. That business line is doing well. It has been doing well, and it is profitable to the most part, but it's now a very small compared to the Bitcoin treasury business line. And the operating cost to keep the software products running is very low. MSTR would never need to sell their Bitcoin to keep that business line operating in times when that business line is not doing well or is not generating enough revenue to cover the cost, and especially during bear markets when the Bitcoin price goes down, they would never need to actually sell those Bitcoin to actually cover the cost of maintaining the business. The same cannot be said about heavily operating businesses such as Bitcoin miners or other businesses that are considering getting into Bitcoin and copying the MicroStrategy play. Not to mention that MicroStrategy has the brand of Michael Saylor, who is a very well-known Bitcoin maxi. So the MicroStrategy holders trust essentially the leadership at MicroStrategy, headed by Michael Saylor, to never ever sell their Bitcoin and to basically ride it forever. As he always says, this Bitcoin is forever. You never sell your Bitcoin. And he only basically borrows against his Bitcoin instead of selling it. So I think for me, I believe other companies will follow suit. I think a lot of companies will actually even borrow money at very low interest rates to buy Bitcoin, but I don't think a lot of companies will be able to label themselves as a Bitcoin treasury company. Maybe a couple of other companies will do the same, but not all of them. But I believe a lot of companies will put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So this is really what makes MicroStrategy different. And even if a lot of companies do the same play, the fact that MicroStrategy is different makes it special, and this is the bull case for MSTR. So this is it for this video. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please leave a like. If you have any feedback or comments, leave them down below. You can check the description of this video. If you want to buy Bitcoin Mina tickets, you can get 10% off by using the code Thomas, THOMAS. And please don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter. And that's it for this video. Thank you all for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.